Welcome to Spotlight. I'm Sue Rakowski, and with me is Patti Samar, and she is with the Bluewater Women's Magazine, and much, much more.
Yeah, some days.
Tell me a little bit about your magazine and the Bluewater Women's Awards that you do each year.
Right. The magazine's been around since 2011, so we celebrated 11 years this year, which is, I'm so thankful for the community's continued support, and it's so much fun to be able to share. All the stories in it are just personal profiles of women from our community, so it's my honor and pleasure to be able to share those stories every issue. It's a quarterly publication, and it's available around the community free of charge at many different businesses that allow us to place them inside their doors. The Bluewater Woman of the Year Awards is something I've done since the first year. Of course, we skipped a year or two because of COVID, but we I wrangled that all together this past May 2022, where we had sort of a super event.
Yes.
Honored people from a couple different years that didn't have the ceremony. And it was amazing. But what we do every year is I ask the community to nominate women for these awards. And on the bluewaterwoman.com website, there you can find the nomination form. And the deadline this year is November 18th.
Okay.
So if people are interested in nominating somebody they know, it's a really simple, I've really tried over the years to make the process really simple. You just have to answer, 4 or 5 questions, just basically explaining why this woman is deserving of recognition. And then I asked that they give, I think it's 3 references that are in regard to whatever the focus of the nomination is.
And I can say I've done it and nominated someone, and it is an easy process, and it's very rewarding even to just nominate someone and have them go to that next level. And what is the criteria, people may ask?
Well, I don't do the judging, so I tell this story all the time. I'm from the Upper Peninsula, and I have a group of friends up there who I kind of rotate through and ask them to review the nominations every year, and then they send me a list of names back. They just kind of rank them, and then over the years I've chosen to honor different numbers of women. I think the first year it was only 4, and now I'm up to like 6.
Okay, lots of deserving women in our
I think that's what just kind of, because sometimes I get the list back and I share it with my husband, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I make a decision where to cut this?
Sure, right.
Because when someone takes the time to nominate someone, it's usually because they have done something really spectacular in the community, and so it's really hard I'd love to be able to give them all something, I suppose, but and the other thing I will recommend to people is if you have nominated someone in the past and for whatever number of reasons she did not receive an award, I always encourage people to re-nominate, because sometimes those people have received an award like in the second go round, because it kind of always, it sounds horrible because it feels like you're ranking people in general, but it really always depends on who the other women are that are nominated in any given year and what their particular outstanding achievements are.
Where would people go to nominate?
To bluewaterwoman, WOMAN.com.
Okay, very good. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk about another fun thing that you have up your sleeve. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back on Spotlight.
Semco Energy Gas Company is dedicated to you with a focus on customer service and fuel today for a sustainable tomorrow. Semco Energy works hard to make your time with family and friends warm and cozy. Semco Energy Gas Company. Natural gas works for Michigan.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm continuing my discussion with Patti, and we talked about the Women's Award and your magazine, but you've got another thing, shall we say, up your sleeve that intrigues me, a new club you've started.
Yeah, it's kind of associated loosely with the magazine because I reach so many women in the community. It's called the Bluewater Woman Recreation and Mischief Club.
And I love that part of the most.
The mischief is what we're probably best at. I really started this kind of on a whim. Over the years, I like to think of myself as fairly active, but then as we all know, we were talking about going to the gym and stuff earlier before we got on the air. You go through lulls, valleys, hills and valleys, and you always are looking for something to keep you motivated, to keep moving and to keep active. Yeah. And so I went on, actually the funny thing was I went on a solo trip probably about a month ago, and took my bike with me, and I used to mountain bike all the time many years ago. and I have not done as much of that over the last few years. And it was so much fun being out in the woods, and I was like, why don't I do this more often?
Right.
And I've also raced competitively on sailboats for many years, over 20 years, and I did it really, I don't want to call it seriously because it's just with a bunch of local dudes, but I raced consistently, I should say, for at least 20 years. And usually I found that I was one of the only women on the boat ever, or on any crew. And there are a handful of other women who race consistently, maybe a couple handfuls at the yacht club, but what I kind of ascertained, because I had this unbelievable response when I started the Recreation and Mischief Club, all these women who wanted to basically go for a walk or a bike ride.
Sure, be active.
I don't mind doing those things alone. Certainly on a sailboat you go on with other people, but what I'm learning is that a lot of women are hesitant. I always wondered why more women didn't want to sail. And what I've kind of learned is they're intimidated.
Okay.
And I think that women are a little bit afraid sometimes to go off in the woods by themselves, or some people just aren't as comfortable being by themselves for any number of reasons. And so you offer them the opportunity to do it with a group of other people, and they jumped on it. So in like a week's time, I have, and it's just Facebook follows, but over almost 400 women have followed the group.
How fun.
We had 28 people come to our first event. I was hoping for like 2 or 3. To
Oh
be
my
honest,
goodness.
I thought I was like hoping I wouldn't be embarrassed and I'd just be standing there by myself. Like nobody was going to show up. And then someone said, well, you'll probably get 5 or 10. And I'm like, well, I hope so. And then we had 28 come.
Wow.
So it was really fun.
So you took a bike ride and then had a beverage?
Yeah, well, we didn't. The first one was a hike. And hike and happy hour, we called it. And I think that did help attract people, was the happy hour part. But there's absolutely no pressure to participate. You can either just come and hike, or if you come to the happy hour, you certainly do not need to drink alcohol. In fact, I really make a big, kind of a big deal about that it's open for everybody and for all abilities. We had a woman come who walks with a walker.
Oh,
and
nice.
she did the whole 2-mile hike.
Wow.
We hiked on, the first one was on the Bluewater River Walk, which is, of course, down, it's a county park partnership with the Community Foundation of St. Clair County, and it's amazing. And I had just done Mara McCallman's P.S. I Love You 5K on that recently, and I was kind of reminded of how pretty that trail is, because I don't tend to walk there very often myself. So I thought, that would be kind of the perfect, there's trees back there, and I thought with the fall colors. So I set up a schedule for about once a month. We're going to be getting together.
Where can people find out more about it?
You can just on Facebook. It's just simply all of it's being done on Facebook. So you go to Bluewater Woman Recreation and Mischief Club. And you just ask to join the club, and I allow people in.
Fun.
So it is focused, just so you know, it's focused on women. It's meant to be adult women. And it's also so I've had 2 gentlemen ask to be a member, and I politely declined.
Well, maybe they can start another club. So.
Well, yeah, they can do their own thing. So so it's been fun, and I encourage women if they and women who came, just so they know. Some women brought a friend, but some came by themselves and didn't know anybody there, including me. Like there were a lot of women who I didn't know, I'd never heard of, I'd never seen before in my life, and everybody kind of made friends by the end of the evening. So it was, don't be afraid to come by yourself. I really encourage people. And we've got other fun things. We got a bike ride coming up this Sunday, and we've got the next event after that is we're going to play disc golf at the Fort Gratiot Township Park, which I thought sounded like a lot of fun. We're going to hike through Sherman Woods for the holidays with all the balls and stuff. So.
Fun. Well, thanks for starting that. Sounds like a fun event, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And thank you for watching this edition of Spotlight.